Podcast time, baby. Featuring Erin Stoll, Part 1. All right, everybody, welcome back again to the Mike Tech Studios podcast. This is Michael Midnight, continuing on our mini-series here for recruiting and staffing with a very special guest today, Erin Stoll. Erin is a technical recruiter. She also has a bachelor's in business admin from the University of Akron. Erin, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I think we were talking about the weather earlier prior to the recording. I'm enjoying my shorts and beautiful weather in this cold time of the year. But you know what? I'm doing pretty good. I appreciate you asking.
You have to rub it in.
You know what? I do. I'm that type of person that when it is, 12 degrees out, I'm
35 here and freezing cold. So thanks for that.
I'm sorry. Moving on to hopefully happier topics. I always like to ask a lot of our recruiters and guests that I have on just what is it really about recruiting that made them want to get into the field in the first place? So
I actually came from IT. So I had many years, 13 roughly, and I decided to stay home with my daughter. So for 3 years, I was at home with her, and then it was time for me to go back to work into the IT world and was not having any luck because I was off of work for so long. Employers see that I was off for 3 years, so they think, I'm not keeping up with technology, and they don't know that I had been. So I kind of had a rough time there getting back into the workplace after being off for so long. I actually came across a recruiting company called iFuse Solutions and was working with them to try to get back to work. And the recruiter that I was working with was absolutely amazing. And I had had bad experiences previous to that with other recruiting agencies. Something about...
Not you.
Yeah. Yeah, I had some pretty interesting experiences before I found iFuse, but the recruiter that I was working with was absolutely incredible, trying to get me back to work. She finally said to me one day, "Have you ever thought about IT recruiting? You have such a bubbly personality. You seem to like to network. You really seem like you'd be really good at this because you know how to talk to IT people since you have the IT background. Have you ever thought about it?" So that's kind of how I fell into it. Networking alone is probably one of my most favorite things about recruiting, and that's kind of what drew me to it, and the rest is history. So I absolutely love it, and I'm very passionate about it. I'm passionate about helping people really want to be a part of their success. So that's another thing that kind of drew me to recruiting.
A lot of the people that I do have on this series with the podcast, they're not necessarily superstars that you would see in a movie somewhere or crazy amount of fame to them. What they are best at, and you can, once you get a chance to actually talk to them, you can just feel the energy about them that they do want to make a difference and want to change. And that's just really cool. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I did reach out to you as well. The interesting thing, though, about switching industries and being out, for so long as you had, actually is a good point to bring up, which leads me into my next question. With your background changing as it has, going from previous other industries to what you do now, recruiting, and being out of work for an extended period of time, what can you maybe mention that helps you while you were switching over professions, or what you did gain or what you did learn from having to go through those transitions to be where you are now?
That's a really good question. Being out of the workforce for so long, it is important to continue and further your education, even if you're not working. I had really nothing to show for it. I was reading articles, listening to podcasts, things like that. But I was off stayed home with my daughter, but I also focused on networking through my music. So I kept in contact with professionals. Even though I wasn't working, I was able to focus on my music.
Gotcha. And that really got you through for the networking process and being able to really turn that into what your career and direction is right now, which is recruiting, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. You have a very intense passion for obviously doing something rather artistic that you wouldn't necessarily normally hear a recruiter doing. I know we kind of already sort of introed into it, but do you care to share?
Sure. So singing is my passion. Country music specifically, kind of fell in love with it. I've been in rock bands off and on throughout the last however many years, and I kind of just fell into the country music scene, and very passionate about music, very passionate about really moving people with my music and with singing. So I kind of just fell into it, and it's just been something I've been in love with ever since I was a little girl.
That's very cool. I don't know if I could see you being in a rock band and then having to go into your office and I need to apply for a job as an IT tech. I don't know if I can make that connection. That would be interesting though.
Yeah, I don't really look like I'm a rocker. I'm more of a country singer with a closet rocker. Does that work? Does that sound?
That sounds so wrong.
It does.
So, but okay, so music. So obviously you've been really passionate about your music, and that's something that has really driven you into, I mean, essentially what you do now, if you think about it, you're networking. Do you use your music in any way to, I don't want to say help recruit, but I mean, do you use any sort of stories or tactics or anything like that from your experience with singing and things like that?
With my music, honestly, no, not at this point. Other than candidates can see on my LinkedIn profile that I am a Nashville singer-songwriter. And that does kind of attract them to me because I'm showing this a side of me that, I want them to know who I am. So I think I kind of earn that trust possibly. Sometimes people do want to talk to me because they notice, hey, she's a singer-songwriter. Is she a performer? I think that maybe that might be more inviting to them, and I could be easier to talk to.
Well, you would hope so. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, again, I think recruiters, they're just known for not getting back to people. They complain about candidates ghosting on them. I think it's really been more of the other way around. At least that's just been my experience as a candidate. When you do hear certain things about a passion of somebody as a recruiter, I don't know, I would say hope. I know it sounds really kind of sad, but when you're out of work or you're looking for work, you start to get really stressed out. I mean, the first thing is mental fatigue and mental health. It can get to you. Basically, when you can reach out to them and know that they're listening, that authenticity, I think that's very valuable. And it's something that really is missing, I feel, just in my personal experiences with recruiters. A lot of people want to say that, hey, this is what they want to do, but do they actually follow through on it? It's kind of difficult to ghost your fans, especially being, a songwriter and a performer yourself. These are essentially the people that make it possible for you to appreciate doing what you do, because otherwise anybody could sing anywhere,
Absolutely. I do have a passion for changing recruiting because I was on that other side and I had horrible experiences and I had recruiters that would go dark on me and wouldn't keep me in the loop. And I've been there, so I feel for the candidates. And because I'm so passionate about people and about helping people, just from my previous experiences, I gained that passion to want to change recruiting and really make it better for the candidates and make it better for recruiters too, because a lot of us have a very bad rap who don't have all those bad habits, who stay in contact, who truly want to help people find work. So if I can at least be a voice of change and actually do what I say I'm going to do, then hopefully I can help.
Well, I think that's the whole point of actually doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily just the marketing about it, but we all get bummed out when we get something that's not as described. How many times have you bought something and then you realize this crap doesn't work, You just get really frustrated. So if you can have those people that actually help just optimize that process, it's good for everybody. And that's essentially why I'm doing these podcasts. It's a win-win for everybody. If it's a better experience for the candidate, it's a better experience for the recruiter. And then the whole process just gets sped up and it's just much more optimized. It's really awesome just to hear how passionate some people can be about their jobs and how they really just don't take it for granted. I really do appreciate Erin being a guest on the podcast, and we're very much looking forward to her part 2 next week. Bonus. Anyone who is listening to the podcast and is interested or in need of a position or IT help or placement that Erin is available for with iFuse Solutions, we've actually set up a special raffle of sorts for listeners of the podcast. So here's how it works. You connect with Erin on LinkedIn, letting her know that you've heard our podcast together. Also, look for Mike Tech Studios on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. If you haven't subscribed or followed or shared our content recently, feel free to do that too. Using the hashtag #TheSingingRecruiter, send us at Mike Tech Studios a screenshot of this podcast and your horror or success story with a recruiter. You'll be entered into a drawing to win a great prize directly from Erin. 2 random winners will receive her latest album as a download code from iTunes. 2 random winners will receive an autograph signed by Erin herself, along with a download code for 1 song off of her latest album. And an even luckier winner as a grand prize of sorts will get both an autograph as well as Erin's latest album, Unfinished. Have your own recruiter candidate story that you want to share with us? If you are listening on YouTube, comment below. If you're listening on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or your podcast app of choice, feel free to email your experience to go@miketech.tv. You can also find our full conversation of this episode on YouTube at youtube.com/Mike Tech Studios. That's MIKTEK Studios. Thanks for checking out this episode, and feel free to like, subscribe, and share our content. Now, if you could all excuse me, I have a plane to catch. I have a country concert to go attend and an artist to go support. Thanks for tuning in, guys. This is Michael Midnight signing off.